It was a quiet Saturday morning when everything started. I remember the sound of the coffee maker humming in the background and the faint laughter of children playing outside in the neighborhood. My name is Claire, I'm 38, and for the most part, I live a simple life in a small town in Ohio. My sister Laura lives only a few blocks away, so her son, my 12-year-old nephew, Ethan, often comes by to visit. He's always been a sweet boy, thoughtful beyond his years, but that day he walked in with a look on his face that told me something deeper was weighing on him. I was sitting at my kitchen table with my coffee, flipping absent-mindedly through an old magazine, when I heard the soft knock at the door. Without even looking up, I knew it had to be Ethan. When I opened the door, there he was, holding a small notebook in his hands, his eyes shifting nervously, as though he wasn't sure if he should be there. "Aunt Claire," he said softly, "can I ask you something?" I smiled, a little surprised by his tone. Usually, Ethan bounded into my house with a rush of energy, ready to tell me about his latest school project or the baseball game he was excited about. But this time was different. His voice was steady, almost rehearsed, and I could see his fingers gripping that notebook like it was the most important thing in the world. "Of course, honey," I said, moving aside to let him in. "What's on your mind?" He sat at the kitchen table across from me, setting the notebook down carefully, like it held a secret. For a moment, he didn't speak. He just stared at the cover, running his hand over the worn-out edges. Then finally, he looked up at me and said, "Can you help me with something, but promise you won't tell Mom?" That request alone startled me. Ethan was close to his mom, my sister Laura, and he usually told her everything. I hesitated, unsure if I should make a promise, without knowing what I was agreeing to. But the way his eyes searched mine, so full of trust, made me nod. "Okay," I said gently. "I promise." "What is it?" He opened the notebook, and on the first page, I saw a drawing. It wasn't a childlike doodle, it was a detailed sketch of a family. A woman, a man, and a child holding hands. At first, I thought maybe it was just a school art project, but then Ethan's voice cracked as he explained. "That's supposed to be me and Mom," he said, pointing to the woman and the boy. "But I don't know who this man is supposed to be. I just drew him because I wanted to." The words hit me harder than I expected. Ethan's father had never been in the picture. Laura raised him on her own from the beginning, and she always avoided the topic whenever anyone asked. We all assumed she just didn't want to talk about it, but now here was Ethan, sitting at my table, practically begging me for answers. "Do you know who he is?" Ethan asked, his voice fragile. I swallowed hard, unsure what to say. This wasn't just about art or curiosity, it was about identity. I had always respected my sister's silence, but now, looking at my nephew's searching eyes, I realized that the truth had been hidden too long. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I reached over and put my hand over his. "Ethan, why don't you tell me why you're asking now?" He lowered his gaze. "Because I heard Mom crying last night. I heard her talking on the phone. She said his name. She said she couldn't keep it from me forever." His voice wavered as he said the words. "So I thought maybe you knew." And there it was, the moment I realized something was about to unravel. My sister had kept her secret for over a decade, but now Ethan's simple request for the truth was about to expose it all. That night, after Ethan left, I sat on the sofa, replaying the conversation in my mind. My heart ached for him. He was at that age where kids start piecing together the fragments of who they are, and not knowing about his father was leaving a wound that no one had tended to. I wanted to call Laura right away, but I knew this was her story to tell. Still, I couldn't shake Ethan's voice, the way he asked me with such raw hope. The following week, things only grew more complicated. Laura came over for dinner, and I could sense something was on her mind. She pushed her food around her plate, her eyes distracted. Finally, after Ethan went to play in the backyard, she sighed. "Claire," she whispered, "he asked you, didn't he?" I froze, realizing Ethan must have told her he'd come to me. I nodded carefully. "Yes, but I didn't tell him anything." "He deserves to hear it from you." Laura covered her face with her hands. "I don't know how to. I thought I could protect him by staying silent, but maybe I just made it worse." Her tears broke me. I had never seen my strong, determined sister look so fragile. That's when she finally revealed the truth to me, something I had only suspected but never confirmed. Ethan's father wasn't some stranger who had left. He was someone we both knew from our past, someone who had made promises he never kept. Laura had chosen silence to spare Ethan from disappointment. But secrets, I've learned, always find their way to the surface. When the truth finally came out to Ethan weeks later, it wasn't an easy conversation. There were tears, confusion, and even anger. But there was also relief. He finally understood why his life looked different, and though it hurt, it also gave him a sense of clarity. Over time, that difficult truth brought healing. Ethan started drawing again, but this time, his pictures were filled with hope, him and his mom, standing strong, sometimes even with me by their side. His art became his way of processing the emotions he couldn't always put into words. And as for my sister, she realized that honesty, even when painful, was better than silence. Ethan's request that day, the one that seemed so small, ended up exposing years of hidden grief. But it also gave us the chance to rebuild as a family stronger than before. Sometimes the truth doesn't come out the way we plan. Sometimes it comes through the innocent request of a child who just wants to understand where they belong. But in the end, what matters most is not the secret that was exposed, but the love that carried us through once it was.